Something happened here in Morocco earlier this month on 8 September 23, 11 minutes after 11 p.m. An earthquake happened with a magnitude of 6.8 to 6.9. Good afternoon, welcome to BP Geographic News. See both sides of the story from the beautiful and fascinating Old Medina of Fez in northern Morocco. It is with a bit over 30 degrees, yeah, a European would say still hot, but I have experienced 45 degrees in summer, and that almost at least over 40 degrees almost every day. So in comparison, I could say it's becoming autumn now. And yeah, and even at night, a bit cooler, down to 18 degrees, and last night it felt a little bit cool. So it's a good time to be here. Unfortunately, I have to talk about something earlier this month on 8 September 23, 11 minutes after 11 p.m. An earthquake happened with a magnitude of 6.8 to 6.9. That can be called severe in the Marrakesh Safi region. So here I am reporting from Morocco a few weeks after the earthquake. And this is Fez. This is some distance away from the epicenter. It was near Marrakesh, but here also something could be felt. And yeah, the epicenter was located 73.4 kilometers southwest of Marrakesh. Unfortunately, 2,960 deaths were reported and recorded. And most occurring outside of Marrakesh in these small towns in the area. I have seen them from the airplane when I first arrived here in 21 and then last year again. You can see from the airplane all these small towns, and the buildings there are not earthquake proof. And this earthquake was so strong that it could even be felt in Spain, Portugal and Algeria. So of course also, yeah, basically throughout all of Morocco, and of course also here in Fez. And even I've walked around, and outside you can't see much, but here inside there is a small crack here in this room. Maybe not so visible, but yeah, there. And a chandelier fell down, not this one. That still looks fine, that kept hanging, but in the other room there, the chandelier fell down. Now it's back in place, so you can't really see much. It was a shock for the people here. I know that some passed out. Yeah, if you have never experienced an earthquake, I have experienced an earthquake once in Xiamen at the Chinese coast, on the opposite of Taiwan, at the Taiwan Strait. The earthquake's epicenter was on Taiwan, and yeah, I could still feel how everything was a bit shaking, and it's like you are out of control. There's nothing you can do. Everything moves. Of course, if you got used to it, then yeah, you know it will be over soon. But if not, it is an unusual experience. But I walked around a little bit so you can see how it looks like here in the Old Medina right now. So here I am in the Old Medina of Fez, also called Fez el Bali, which is at least over 1,000 years old. So here I'm reporting from Fez, from Morocco. This is some distance away from where the earthquake happened, but here were also a bit of it could be felt here. Yeah, so you can see the Old Medina of Fez still looks beautiful, as it probably has looked like for already hundreds of years. And I apologize, there are sometimes motor scooters outside in these small alleys. As you could see, the alleys are so narrow The only vehicles that fit through are motor scooters or anything similar. Yeah, I think now it's gone. So the old Medina of Fez is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And that also applies to the old Medina of Marrakesh, which was, of course, much more severely affected since the earthquake was nearby. Many historic landmarks were destroyed. Yeah, and the reason why this earthquake was so severe, actually the deadliest one since the 1960s Agadir earthquake, and yeah, the second deadliest this year after the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. Earthquakes occur because of plate tectonics. I mean, you might know there are these tectonic plates where the continents are on, and here is actually the border between the African and the Eurasian plate. And at some point here, because the border splits up a little bit, that it happens that it also moves sideways. And that is the problem. When the plate moves sideways, then it might get stuck and then suddenly releases like this. And first of all, there is a main shock that with the magnitude of 6.8, that is like, first you have this main shock, and then there can be an aftershock that was hours later with a magnitude of 4.8 here, and then another aftershock 2 days later on 10th September with a magnitude of 4.5. Of course, historic landmarks were unfortunately destroyed. They have to be rebuilt, but there are also riads, this kind of hotels that are totally fine and like undamaged. And the owners are reporting that they get only cancellations these days because people think all of Marrakesh is destroyed or is too dangerous or something. But as we know from the history, an earthquake occurs maximum over several days and then it is over. And now it has been already like almost 3 weeks. So you don't need to worry about further earthquake for a while. And as I said, there are still places that are undestroyed where you can still travel. There are still these riads, even in Marrakesh, that are totally fine, that are not damaged. So, or here in Fez, you don't really see any physical, any visible damage. Maybe it's a small crack like that one, but the buildings are structurally fine. They you don't need to worry. And just come here as a tourist and spend money as a normal tourist, and then you help the economy here, you help the people here. Yeah, so much about today's topic. Maybe I go out again in the evening when it cools down a little bit. Then when the desert sun sets, then of course it is not such a desert heat anymore, and it's nicer. Places where maybe you heard where Formula One race takes place, like Singapore, where they do a night race so that it's cooler, or of course here in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi or Qatar or Bahrain, and also maybe the Football World Cup, if you remember Qatar, where the matches took place in the evening because it's cooler, yeah. And so if you don't like such a heat, then stay inside during the day and go out in the evening. Yeah, or you come a bit later when it's even cooler. In winter, actually here, the people here, they are actually saying that in winter it gets a bit cold, but for European maybe not so. But yeah, if you don't like heat, then come in winter. Just travel here again and then you help the country. So have a beautiful rest of the day, and then till next time here at BP Geographic News.